Thank you very much, Roberto, and good morning to everyone. Kalimera, merhaba, because we have a number of people from the Arab world as well. So welcome all at the Thursday, and I welcome warmly our Minister for Development and Competitiveness, Mr. Papathanasis. Actually, this is part of the dream team. Together with Minister Georgiadis, they have done miracles for this country these last 3.5 years in promoting the growth and the investments for Greece and our country. I must tell you, I have the privilege and the pleasure to accompany the Minister to Toronto. Thanks to his initiative, last October, we initiated a great forum in Toronto where we discussed the bilateral relations between Toronto and Greece, and it was a great event, and actually I had the opportunity to see the Minister in action, actually. So Minister Papathanasis has lived actually in Toronto for a number of years. He worked for the Haviland Group, and also he was for more than 25 years leading major companies in Greece. So he has a technocratic background, and this helps a lot for managing, the issues of the country. So, Minister, we thank you very much for coming. Let us see, what are the plans that you accelerate a little further the economy of Greece? We have done very well these last 3.5 years, but what are you thinking for the future?
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to thank Mr. Tsomokos for the words he said. I think he's exaggerating a little bit, but nevertheless, I think that he does a great job in promoting Greece, and I would like to congratulate him and his company for what he's doing for Greece, because it's very important to be here, discuss with you, dignitaries, for issues that affect the growth potential of Greece. And at the same time, it's very important to discuss these matters abroad, because we live in a global community, and we very much depend on how Greece is being seen and the picture it presents to the global economic community. So all these events, the forums, are very important, because in that sense we can exchange opinions and rather show what we have done in Greece. Of course, Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis, right from the beginning, he had decided that he wanted to change a lot of things in Greece, and of course to reform the country in order to achieve a different status in the global community. And as we have as we have run 3.5 years of reforms, we've realized that we had many structural issues we had to change, and we did that. And right from the beginning, the basic pillars that we followed was, first of all, to change the fiscal mix of our economy, that is to stop overtaxing companies and people. In that sense, we've moved into reducing more than 50 taxes in various sections of the economy. And at the same time, we created a comfort zone for companies to operate in Greece. Then we had to proceed in changing the picture Greece had abroad, in making it a more friendly place for investments. And we did that by reforming many issues that would create obstacles in the business community. So Greece now is a place that is well accepted as a place for investment, one of the most, I would say, 10 better places to invest in Europe, and we still have to proceed with other structural reforms in order to make it even easier. And at the same time, is the country that have risen more positions in the ease of business than any other country from what it is presented of the world. So that, along with our reduction of NPLs, we've gone through a period of financial problem, and we had, when we went to the power debt to GDP ratio of 37%, and we had to work on that. Right now, it's dropped down to 10%, and that gives us, and of course, we're not happy with that. We still want to go much lower. Obviously, this has to be reduced faster, and in that sense, it will give the systemic banks the ease of handling approximately 70 billion of structural funds that are coming to Greece in the next 5 to 7 years, that will pool another 30 billion of private funds. So we are reforming, continuing to change structural obstacles, and we believe that we will not stop, even though we have reached the last 8 months or 9 months of our election period. We believe we need another term, and we actually are confident that the Greek people will give us the opportunity to have another term to complete the work we have started.
We're optimistic, Minister, that you will get another term.
We have to be optimistic.
And we wish you the best,
because we live in a very strange...
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it will be extremely important for the country that this government continues the policies that you have started 3.5 years ago. So let's assume that, of course, you are going to be elected. What will be the priorities of the next government? I mean, to continue, of course, on this course, but I think we need a little further increase in foreign investments from abroad and, you know, make the country more competitive. And what you think we should do, you know, for the next 4 years?
Okay, well, our priorities would continue to be to change our, as I said, the fiscal mix. So we need to keep on reducing taxes. Of course, we are reaching a point that we expect the investment grade. Investment grade will give us the opportunity to expand the perimeter of the bankable companies in Greece. We do have this structural problem. We have approximately, with respect to companies, medium or large companies, approximately 200,000 companies, that only 50 or 50,000 companies are really bankable. So we need to loosen up a little bit, and this will happen actually once we receive the investment grade. Now, we do have incentives, and we've created investment tools that provide incentives for investments. Although we have reached a record in FDIs in 2021, 5 billion. In total, the last 3 years, more than 7 billion. We expect in 2022 to still be much higher, so to have a new record, all-time record. And at the same time, it is very important, and actually this was seen more prominently in the time of the COVID. We have a very sound industrial sector that it seems that it is getting again a record in exports. Now our exports are reaching 41% of our GDP, and that is a high percentage reached by Portugal. So we're surpassing many European countries when it comes to our export with respect to the GDP, and we believe that we have to proceed in that since industry, innovation, and tourism could have more road to run, and I think we will support this.
Minister, thank you very much. This is a great thought, because Greece was depending a lot on tourism. So I think we need to strengthen the industrial sector. I think we need to, and the agriculture as well, so that, Greece produces products. We don't make money only from services. And I have a feeling that this is the way that the country needs to go in the years.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. Agriculture, yes. Agri-food is a strong point. Mm-hmm. So we do have, we do provide incentives. There's very high demand for investments in Greece right now. We are running schemes providing incentives in the agri-food, in the industrial, and the tourist sectors. And we see a very high interest for investment. Now, as I said, the structural funds will give us an assistance in providing more incentives to move much higher, much faster in these sectors.
Responsible for this huge project of the old airport, the Hellinikon. And this is actually an area which is double, I think, than Monaco. It's a project of more than 3, 4, 5 billion euros, Minister. And I think this will not only change the face of Attica and Athens, but this will give tremendous impetus to the Greek economy as well as a whole. Because you are responsible for this project, can you tell us what phase we are, these days?
It's probably the largest urban project in Europe. It's an $8 billion project, and when we came in power back in 2019, we had to surpass a lot of problems. Of course, we must say the truth that we are fighting red tape and bureaucracy. It's not an easy task. I would say it's a monster. And we found that in order to do that more effectively, and that goes to the Hellinikon project, we had to move outside of the state a lot of the jobs that the state was doing. So we started entrusting the private sector in doing the jobs that the state was doing, for a long time. And in that sense, we created a buffer of comfort between the state and the investors. Moving that way, we resolve all the problems. And actually, if somebody sees a project of that area and high budget, it's not easily be done in other countries as well. If you have to resolve, urban and civil and other obstacles in licensing and permitting, in whatever country will find a problem. So once the investors see that we can surpass these problems for such an investment, they feel more confident. We did that with the cooperation of all the ministries, and of course, we have to say that this government is a center-right government. Probably this party is the largest center-right party in Europe. It actually works and operates in one frequency, this frequency of creating this friendly environment. It's very important. The message that you sent to the global community, and that in that sense, we do have high demand for investments in Greece. We are very confident that FDIs will have a record time, a record year this year as well, and we expect more to happen. One problem that we have is the matter of size in Greece. Projects, usually funds that are requesting are projects quite high. We would accommodate that by resolving other structural issues to make it easier for larger projects to go ahead much faster.
I must admit this period reminds me a little, Mr. Minister, the period of the 60s and 70s, where Greece saw important investments from the world, but primarily from the United States, I remember Exxon was here, Dow Chemical. We had very many companies coming from Beirut after the crisis there. So this is, I think, the time that we see again very many investments coming. I mean, in northern Greece, we have these days Microsoft, we have Pfizer, we have this. And actually, I wanted to have your thoughts, how North Greece can become a hub for business towards, the southeast countries, the Balkans.
It is happening.
It is happening.
It is happening. Of course, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Pfizer, and all these companies, these great companies, have decided to invest in Greece. It's because they trust the long-term capacity of the country. And northern Greece and Thessaloniki has become the center, I would say, innovation, R&D center. Many companies are establishing there their headquarters and the hubs because they do find one thing that is probably lacking from other locations, which is the talent. We have the talent in the northern part because we have very strong academic institutions. We have many engineers and STEM graduates, and I think this is one issue that is very attractive. So we had cases like Pfizer that initially had decided to set up a smaller hub. These companies, they do not decide from sentimental issues to come to a state. They decide based on logical matters. And the initial plan was to set up a hub of 150 engineers, researchers, and now they are reaching 800 and more. And the same is happening with Deloitte and other institutions that are very keen in setting up their hubs in Thessaloniki. Not only Thessaloniki, though. We have, this is happening in Ioannina.
We're going tomorrow, actually, to Ioannina. This group goes to Ioannina tomorrow to discuss with the governor and the mayor about innovation and about competitiveness, etc.
Actually, there's very high interest there, and many companies are setting up their headquarters there. And of course, the incentives are good. We have created a fast-track procedure for strategic investments. At the same time, all these incentives for R&D and innovation. But, for example, one issue in Ioannina is companies are seeking spaces to be located because all the space has been taken. So we are, Greece, in the last, I would say, 30, 40 years, forgotten the industrial sector and also the business parks. And we have remembered that in the last few years. So we are running in order to create these spaces because companies do need the space to grow. And I think we have provided incentives for the creation of business parks and industrial parks because we've reached a point that all major industrial parks in Greece are almost full. And the demand is very high, and that is the reason, as I have the portfolio of the Just Transition. This is the program for delignitization that actually refers to Western Macedonia, megalopoli, basic zones are Kozani and Florina, but includes the whole of Western Macedonia, and also megalopoli also includes the municipalities of Tripoli, Halia, Vortimia, and we are trying to create industrial parks there and business parks.
So thanks to the leadership of the GFCC, Deborah Smith, Mr. Chad Holiday, Roberto and Chad, we all go tomorrow morning. We're having a lovely bus at 9 o'clock in the morning. We go to Ioannina, we have meetings with the governor, with the mayor, with the university.
You'll have a wonderful weather also.
We have a wonderful weather as well. So with this, let us give a hand to the minister because he was
great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Minister Papathanasios, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. I must tell you, Greece needs you very much so that you continue this trip that you have started And we thank you deeply for your great support to our country.
Thank you for the invitation and congratulations for the work you've done. Thank you.
May I ask Mr. Simos Anastasopoulos to chair the next discussion?